How do we know the Torah was given from God? Let's review it carefully. Please pay attention. When I come today to secular Jews, they don't keep any of the commandments, and try to convince them to become observant of the instructions of the Torah. First reaction is, leave me alone, I'm happy with the way I am, I'm not interested to change, it's too difficult, you know. What would be the chance that I will speak to millions of people and overnight all of them will become religious? I bring them a book, I say God sent me, I'm the prophet, every one of you has to listen to me, here is the book, here is your copy. Everybody has to change from one side to the other, completely. What's the chance? Close to zero. Millions of people would agree right away. It's almost impossible. But yet in history something like this did happen. Moses came to millions of people and he gave them a book, and they all adopted the book and started to live according to the rules. How did it happen? We have to understand, we have to investigate. We use our common sense. If we review the 613 laws, we find, first of all, that some of them are difficult to keep, it's not so easy. And we also find that approximately 80% of them, not only we cannot understand in a human logic, it's actually, some of them are against human logic. For instance, the entire concept of the sacrifices. A person make a sin, the animal supposedly paying the price. People cannot understand. Where is this? It's not fair. One commandment in the Torah, if you see a bird in a nest, get rid of the mother, send her away and take the eggs or the chicks and put them somewhere, and thanks to that you should have long life. Doesn't make sense. Nobody, first of all, it looks like cruelty, and second, what's the connection between this to long life? Nobody understands. Make sure once a year you clean your house from breadcrumbs and every chametz, everything that made from the 5 kinds of grains should not be in your house for the days of Passover. Nobody understands the logic. Many other examples. Some of the commandments are very logical. You should not kill, you should not steal, respect your father and mother. Everybody understands that. But for that you didn't really need Torah, it's common sense. I am talking about the major part of the Torah, where most of it cannot be understood. And some of it, it's against our thinking. The answer to that is very simple. If Moses, God forbid, was a faker, or anybody who was trying to write the Torah, the first thing he would do, he will bring a very easy book to keep, not to make people rebel against him. He should make the people be interested to accept this change in their life. Why should they make it too difficult? Give 5 or 6 commandments, make sure they understand that you're the leader and you're the boss here. They give you some charity, donations, whatever, and finish. Why you make such a hard thing? You're actually defeating your own purpose, if you're a faker. Second thing is, you brought some of the commandments that risk your life. I'll give an example, 1 or 2. When Moses gave them the book, this is the only book in history that the book that was given to the public supposedly by God, right? Everybody claimed that God gave them a book after. But here we have millions of witnesses that receiving a book from Moses. When they open up the book and they read, who are they reading about? About themselves. No other book, no other religious book later address the people who are receiving it as part of the book. The Jews are the integral part of the book. Most parts of the Torah describing what happened to them in Egypt, in the exodus of Egypt, and even describing how they accept the Torah. If the 100 miracles that describes in the Torah, when some of them are against all odds, blood in Egypt, frogs everywhere, hail are falling from heaven, every firstborn Egyptian is falling and dying, the 10 plagues, and the exodus of Egypt, the Jews are going through and the Egyptians with their heavy army are drowning, and then bread is falling from heaven, and so many miracles described there. When the Jews receive the Torah, all they have to do is to find one human error in a book. Who knows better than them what really happened in reality? Since the book describing what happened to the Jews themselves, and they are the one who are reviewing it now, the first thing they had to do is raise their hand. Excuse me, Moses, what is this dream? You brought us this book, you claim that God gave it to you, very fine. But when we review it, there are things that never happened to us. It says that we were in Egypt. I don't remember we were in Egypt. It says that God split the ocean for us and we went through. I don't remember such a thing. It says that I'm receiving bread from heaven every day. I don't receive it. But the most important, critical thing here, that inside the Torah it described that God is speaking to Moses himself. And all the nation of Israel is listening to this dialogue. If Moses was pretending that somebody is whispering in his ear and he pretends that he's answering back, yeah, you're right. Maybe it's all a show. But here, inside the text, it says that all of you that I'm giving you today the book, all of you heard me, Moses, speaking to God. Yes or no? No other way. If you heard me, I cannot fake such a thing. I cannot fake conversation with God. God is speaking to me from heaven. So that means all of you heard. No questions asked. You don't need proofs anymore. God nominated me to be the leader. If one of you did not hear me, then he would scream to everyone, I'm sorry, I never heard. And that's the first mistake in the Torah. Judaism will never start. Nobody will agree, especially when they were trying to do everything to avoid. Nobody wants now hard work and to change his life completely. Yet, it becomes even more sophisticated. Thousands of them were married to their aunts, which means your father is, let's say, 40 and you are 20, and your father has a young sister, she's 18, and you want to marry her, no problem. There are people who get married when they're cousins. They still get married until this day. So before the Torah was given, it was perfectly legal to marry your aunt. Your father has a young sister, you like her, you grew up together in the same environment. Why not to marry her? You know her very well. So, thousands of the Jews were married to their aunts. When Moses gave them the Torah and they opened it up, one of the commandments, the restrictions was, you should not marry your aunt, you should not touch her. She's forbidden to you. Now remember, keep in mind that many of them had 10 or even more children at that time. So now they just found out they cannot touch their wives. This is a real tragedy for them. People like this, that just found out that basically their personal life is over, they would cooperate with Moses, or they'll do everything they can to destroy him before he will destroy them, supposedly. The answer is, of course, they will try to resist him. But in reality, all the nation of Israel changed overnight. And until these days, Jews all over the world following these instructions and giving it from generation to generation. All it needed to be is one of them would raise his hand and say, I'm very sorry. All these things did not happen. You want me to divorce my wife? So the answer is no. It's not that I want you. God gave me this book and I'm only passing it to you. The most bizarre thing that we can think of, that even Moses' father, Amram, was married to Yocheved, which was his aunt. Would Moshe go against his own parents?